Hello and welcome back to Not a Watch Snob. I am your host, Bill, and today I thought we'd do a deep dive into the best bang for your buck watches, which are vintage watches. Now, how many times are you walking down the street and you bump into a fellow watch collector and on his wrist is a Rolex Submariner, a Rolex Submariner Homage, or some sort of other dive tool sort of watch? Happens all the time. And for some reason, I feel like today, in today's standards, and what I've realized at Watches and Wonders is the dive / tool watch is just basically all that's being produced these days. It feels like it's just all cookie cutter watches that really don't grab your attention. It's like almost like they're just rolling off the assembly line looking pretty much the exact same. And when I bump into someone who's also into watches, I want to be wearing some heat, some fire, something that that person might have never seen before, not only brand-wise, but style-wise. I want something that they're going to remember and talk about. And that's why I think that vintage watches have a lot of value when it comes to being unique. Now, in this episode, we're going to kind of dive into each one of these watches that I've collected over the past few months. As I've been collecting for the past 10 years, my style has changed so much. It's changed drastically from when I started to where I am today. I started off with new watches, and yeah, I get it. Getting a new watch, there's nothing like it. When it's yours, it's unique to just you. But I like watches that tell a story and have a little bit of history behind them. So I've recently switched over to deep diving into Whatnot and really finding bargains on there. And in this episode, we're going to go over each one of those watches I've purchased, how much it cost me, and kind of compare it to something similar that might be produced today. Now, as the economy started to go into the shitter, thanks Kamala, I decided I needed a new way to feed into my watch addiction, and I really deep dove into Whatnot and tried to find as many bargains as I could on there, and I think I did a really good job of feeding that addiction and getting some really sharp looking pieces here. The thing is, with watches, everyone's style is unique, and if you could pull off a vintage watch, then you can really pull off any watch. And there's something about vintage watches that just, they really put a lot of effort and design and thought and just they put a lot of love into building each one of these watches. It's not like today where 99% of it came from China and the rest is Japanese or Swiss or whatever. It's not cookie cutter, it's not cheap. It was like basically handmade back then, and each one of these watches tells a unique story, and each one of these watches are still running like they just came off the assembly line. I'd like to see your Pangani designs do that, 50, 60, 70 years later. So let's deep dive into this. Let's go over each watch, how much I paid for it, and kind of compare it to a newer counterpart today. Let's check them out together. The first watch on our list is this beautiful vintage Hamilton. Now this Hamilton right here is a manual wind watch. It's got the original strap from Hamilton. It's got 18 karat gold plated. Let me see that real quick. 10 karat gold plated bezel with a stainless steel back. You've got your signed crown right there with the Hamilton logo. And it's an overall just really clean looking watch. It does need a polish on that crystal, but that's easy to do, which I will do as soon as this video is done. But this watch, as you can see, it's got this little micro second hand right there down at the 6 o'clock position. It's got the small second hand down at as you can see, it's got the small second hand down there at the 6 o'clock position. But this watch is absolutely stunning. I mean, check this watch out. If you were to compare this to a Hamilton of today's status, there's really nothing like it, but if I really had to compare it to one watch, it would probably be the American classic Bolton. They're both mechanical, they're both square. This one is, like I said, 10 karat gold filled, where that one's just stainless steel. But overall, I think this watch bang for its buck is there. Let me tell you how much I paid for just this watch alone. I only paid $200. If I were to get this exact watch, but in a I only paid $200 for this watch right here. And if I were to get the Hamilton Bolton, it would cost me $950. Check this out. Let me show you the case back. Thing is gorgeous. Now, let me show you another reason why I love mechanical watches. If you pop open the case back, you'll see exactly why I love mechanical watches. Let me just show you something real quick. Oh, don't want to break it. Check out this dial, A, but B, watch this. I don't want to break it, but let me remove it from its little house here. Give me 1 second. So look at this. Look how cool this is. So it has the actual part numbers from its original time. So it says Hamilton Watch Co. Let me read this real quick. Give me 1 second to find a place to put this down where I don't break it. So it says Hamilton Watch Co., Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 10K bezel, stainless steel. Now, what's so cool about this is the fact that this was made in America, baby. This is back in the day when they were made in America. All of their stuff was made in America except for their movements. They were Swiss made, the movements. Show you these movements right here. Look at this. Thing is absolutely gorgeous. What a good looking movement that is, huh? 17 jewels. This is the movement of, it looks like it says 675. I mean, just vintage watches have just so much more of a beautiful look to them, don't they? Now this is easily from the 50s or 60s. So to imagine how many wrists this watch has seen is just, it's kind of cool to think about. I mean, and also it doesn't look bad. It looks very luxurious, very elegant, very vintage, very stylish, to be honest with you. It looks, and vintage is coming back, believe it or not. Vintage is definitely coming back. I mean, nowadays, my generation is getting into the vintage designs of things, and they're starting to appreciate the older stuff. They want to be obviously born in a different time zone and generation than what we are currently born into. But look at this on the wrist. It looks so elegant and so stunning. And imagine just dressing this up with a nice suit or a nice shirt, and you are good to go. Up next, we have the Beva SE King. Now, this watch is, I mean, look at that dial. That is just a stunning looking dial. I believe it is 10K electroplated. I believe this watch has, now check out this dial. This dial is just stunning. I believe it is a 10 karat electroplated bezel, as well as the markers and hands. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I'm guessing it's from around the 70s, and check out everything about this watch. That dial is to scream for. And if I had to compare this to any sort of watch that Beva makes today, I really couldn't, but if I had to, I would do the Fly Me to the Moon, the Sinatra version. Now, Sinatra was infamously known for wearing Beva watches. However, nowadays, these watches, the Beva watches, are made in Japan. These watches, back then, are T-Swiss made. Now, check out the look of these watches. I mean, as you can see, it's had a little bit of love. It's had a little bit of wear. You got a little bit of the gold falling off, chipped off right there. Which is not a big deal to me because, like I said, every little scratch, every little mark is a story. How many wrists has this watch been on, which is kind of cool to think about the history. If this watch could tell me a story, who owned this watch and what were they doing with their lives, what were they into, what were they like, it would be really cool to listen to and really cool to see. I mean, how many stories could this thing tell you about the different wars, the history of America? And it doesn't have the original band, and that's one of the things that you have to look at when you buy a new watch, when you buy a vintage watch, is that it's not all the time going to have all the original parts. It comes with the territory of buying vintage. But check out the face of this watch, and I want you guys to take a guess at how much I paid for this watch. I only paid, drumroll please, $25. 25 smackaroonies for this beautiful puppy right here. I mean, this dial is to die for. Look at the light hitting that. It looks stunning. It's just a gorgeous looking watch. Let me show you it on the wrist. Give me 1 second. This watch just breathes excellence. I mean, this watch is just absolutely gorgeous. Check it out on the wrist. It is so stunning. I mean, if you saw someone wearing that watch, would you not ask so many questions? It's just a really good looking piece. Now, I'm really proud of my purchase for $25. I think this is a steal. And, you know, as Macklemore said, I'm going to take you grandpa style. It is kind of a grandfather's watch, but check, I mean, it's so stunning. It just really is. And you can tell they put a lot of effort into that dial. Let me show you it again. They put a lot of work and craftsmanship into that dial. It's just radiant. Up next, we have Longines. Now, this watch is really cool. I would say 60s, maybe early 70s. 18 karat gold band, integrated bracelet with a real diamond up there. It has seen some better days. Obviously, you can see the blue is starting to fade, obviously with time. But the writing is really sharp. And let me show you the case back here. Oh my gosh. But what the coolest part is it has the actual manufacturer of the buckle right here and their logo on this 18 karat gold. Look how sharp that looks. That is just gorgeous. But this is a really good looking watch, and for its money, this watch really bats above the rest. 18 karat white gold. Take a shot at how much I paid for this. Only $125. 125 bucks. That's it. And if I were to compare this to any sort of, I guess, collection that Longines would do right now, is, I guess, the Dolce Vita. That's like a woman's watch, but this was obviously a men's watch back in the day. It's square. It's kind of got an integrated bracelet, but there's really nothing that compares to this watch that Longines would create today. But if I were to buy a Longines today, I would pay well over $1,900. Well over $1,900, because that brand's taken off. And again, this is still Swiss made. It's got the elegance. Let me show you the movement real quick. You're gonna really like that. I love the fact that you got a little bit of history right there. Usually nowadays it would just say made in China or Japan in the back here. But let me show you this movement. I mean, like I said, the dial is getting beat up. It's seen some better days. It's clearly been left out in the sun too long. But let me show you this movement real quick. Oh, tell me that's not stunning. Tell me that's not such a beautiful movement with those rubies right there. Really pronounced in it. It's such a stunning looking watch movement. Check this puppy out on the wrist. I mean, it just looks so elegant. This is like something Ace would wear from Casino. It just looks so good on the wrist. Imagine it all dressed up with a suit. It just was gonna look so frigging nice. And you got that signed buckle. You know, when I was at Watch Fair, Watches and Wonders, people were asking me questions about this watch. They were really interested in it just because it's something you don't see every day with that integrated bracelet. People actually thought it was a Patek, which makes me feel really good. Or a Piaget. I think I got a Piaget once, but mostly Patek. And it's a really good looking watch. Again, bang for your buck is there. I only paid 125 bucks for the schmackaroony right here. So we're going to move on, and I'll show you another watch right now. Sticking with the theme of something Ace from from Casino would wear, we've got this Gerard Perago, another integrated bracelet watch as well. Check out the gold on this. This is 10 karat. It says it right. Let's see if I can get a close up of it. It says it right. You can't see it, but it says 10 karat gold right here. The whole thing is actually gold. Very heavy duty watch. It is so stunning. I love the black and brown is very 70s or 80s. And it's just a great looking watch. Gerard Perago, an integrated bracelet would be $13K right now with gold. Oh my God, $13K all the way. This only cost me $1,000. And this thing is just a stunning looking watch. Stunning. Everything about it is stunning. You got GP right there built into it. And like I said, it does look exactly like something from Casino. Let me show you the movement of this watch because I haven't seen it myself. But what was really cool about this watch to me is, first off, look at that logo on there. But look, back in the day, they had the stretch for the bigger wrist, for the smaller wrist. If your wrist grew, you got a little bit of give right there, which is really nice. I didn't think they had that back then, so that's always interesting to me when I find new little discoveries on these watches. Let's check out the movement real quick. So it is missing its chapter ring, but check out how beautiful this watch is. This thing is so stunning. Check out this movement. I mean, it is absolutely radiant. Now, I know I've been saying that all these watches don't look the same. Their movements look very similar. I will admit that. But Gerard Perago's right there. It just, look at how it was milled. It's just a stunning, stunning movement. Let me show you inside here. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is really nice. All right, as we move down our journey, we're gonna move on to more higher end watches. Up next, we've got a 1970s, I believe, 70s, Cartier tank. Check out this. This is a Cartier Trinity. It is silver with 10 karat gold on top of it, I'm pretty sure. So let me show you the back. I can't really read French, but it's quartz. Cartier Paris 925, so silver with plaqué de 20 microns of gold on top of it. So I don't know how much that is, to be completely honest with you. But it's Swiss made. It's from the, oh, it looks like the 80s. My bad, the 80s. You've got the gems right there, but check out this dial. This dial is to die for. Now, this is a really small watch, like most Cartiers. This thing is absolutely tiny. Let me show you one on my wrist. It doesn't look terrible on my wrist, but I mean, I only paid $1,400 for this watch. $1,400 for this watch. Whereas if I were to get a brand new Cartier tank watch, it would cost me well into the 3s or 4s. This thing is just absolutely stunning. Again, bang for your buck is there if you go vintage. Bang for your buck is definitely there. From Cartier to Omega, this is an Omega Seamaster de Ville. Check out this watch. This was my grandfather's watch. This is one of the first watches I've ever got. It's got the Omega logo right there. You got your Seamaster stamp on the back here. I do have the original band. It's just not here with me. It's in the other room. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. If I were to buy a brand new Omega Seamaster, you're talking, well, $300-400. My grandfather paid $125 for this way back in the 60s. So this watch has a lot of great history and a lot of bang for your buck. If I were to buy one of these watches right now, this exact watch, it would probably cost about $400 to $500. If you were to buy this on Whatnot, maybe $300 to $400. But again, if you were gonna buy a brand new Omega, the Omega is gonna cost you $3,000. So why wouldn't you just go with something vintage? Look at how timeless and classic this is. This is a mother of pearl dial. This thing is so timeless and just classic that it screams elegance at you. And that's what we're missing these days. It's not a dive, it's not a tool watch. It is a waterproof watch, but it's not a tool watch. It's meant to be something that you're gonna cherish and wear with a suit, going to work, going to work in the factory. No, I'm just joking. But it's just a good looking watch. Keeping with the theme of vintage watches, check out this. This cost me only $25. This is a Ben Russ. As you can see, it's seen better days. And I think it's a Franken watch. The dial's definitely been redone because there's a Rolex logo on there. It is not a Rolex by any means. But check out this. I don't believe it to be real gold, but it's another integrated bracelet. But that dial is to die for with the tiger eye right there. Tiger's eye right there. Let's check out this. I mean, let me open up the movement. I don't think the movement itself is actually, it's a Franken watch. But this thing is absolutely stunning on the wrist as well. Look at this. Oh, find me a new watch that does that. Find me a new watch. Yeah. Up next, we're gonna get into the gone but not forgotten category of watch collecting. Now, when you're buying vintage watches, there's gonna be a lot of watches out there that you've never heard of. They're not even really being made these days. And that's kind of the fun part of buying watches, is you just gotta do some research and learn about the history of these watches, because there's some really sweet brands out there that are gone but not forgotten. And we're gonna start out with This was made for Sears back in the day. Sears, another company that's gone but not forgotten, is a tradition. Now, this was the best watch you could buy at Sears back in the, 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, I think it was. So this is 17 jewel. It was obviously made by like a private label watch company over in Switzerland. But this watch is really stylish looking. It's not real gold, obviously, but it's 10 karat gold filled. My bet it is real gold. 10 karat gold filled bezel, stainless steel case back, waterproof. But yeah, this is a sharp looking watch that I thought was just really nice. This is probably one I'm gonna sell off, but it looks really sharp. I mean, I couldn't really even compare this to any watch that I've seen today. But tradition, gone but not forgotten. This is a great looking watch that I mean, look at this dial. It's like beat up gold. It's really sharp. And another one that's very famous and is gone but not forgotten is Gruen. Let me show you this puppy right here. This is a woman's watch, I believe, even back in the day. Even though they made them smaller back then, I believe this is still a woman's watch. Let me get it off the box right there. This is a Gruen. It's old. It's a 17 jewel Swiss movement. Let me show you. Crank it up real quick. It does work. But yeah, it's not real gold. This one isn't even gold filled, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's just stainless steel, not gold filled at all. But yeah, Gruen, another great brand. This is something I would just, use as a giveaway if I were to do a Whatnot show. But Gruen themselves is a great brand with a great history. I got this for under $5. I mean, tell me that's not a steal. $5 for this puppy right here. That's a steal and a half for the look of it. And it's Swiss made, 17 jewel movement in there as well. It's just a good looking watch. Oh, and by the way, this tradition I got for $15. That's another steal right there. Again, 17 jewel Inca block movement, I'm guessing, ultra thin. It's their ultra thin version of the watch. I'm pretty sure it's an Inca block in there. Let me just see. Inca block was a big brand of movements back in the day. They're Swiss movements. Yeah, it doesn't say, but I'm gonna guess it's an Inca block movement. Last and certainly not least, we've got the Rolex Datejust. Now, they have not changed their designs or styles since basically their inception. So, this is a Rolex Datejust with the diamond markers. It's got the date right there. It's got your date window. The only difference between this watch and a brand new watch is the quickset. This one doesn't have quickset. But the big difference between this watch and a new watch is it took 1 year to build. One person would build this watch way back in the day. This is from 1971. It is a great looking watch. It's just an eye catcher. People think it's brand new just because they haven't changed their style. Now, I bought this for $3,600. $3,600 got me this beautiful watch right here. If I were to buy this exact watch but brand new, you're talking about $7 to $8 grand, maybe even more, 10 grand, depending on where you're buying it. Because if you buy it from an AD, you're gonna have to wait forever, but you'll pay a little bit less money. $3,000 versus, that's a $3,000 discount, and tell me it doesn't look anything different. It's a 36 millimeters. It looks nothing different. There's nothing different about this watch, and obviously some rich tech head or billionaire from way back in the 70s had this watch, and it's just a great looking watch. Obviously, it's got some scratches and dings. Those are mostly for me. But it's a great looking watch. It's timeless. It's elegant. It's never been changed. The style has never changed. So that basically sums it up. This is a heavy hitter watch, a heavy hitter watch for something that really only cost you $3 grand. I mean, come on. That's a no-brainer. Why would you get a new watch when you could just get this gorgeous beauty right here? Yeah, like I said, okay, so you get a brand new watch and it's completely yours. But you've got a watch that basically could tell you a whole entire book worth of a story about who had it before, the things that it saw. And there's something unique and beautiful to that. Remember, my name's Bill. I'm not a watch snob, and neither are you. Let me know if you would buy a vintage watch in the comment section below. Check out my store, notawatchsnob.com, for newer watches. And remember, enjoy.